Amazon DSP Delivery Associates, it looks like people want to hear about your experiences. Now I'm going to show you this thing that I found while stumbling around the internet, and I'm going to read it to you, but we're going to go over a few caveats afterwards. It says, are you an Amazon delivery who has been impacted by Megacycle? We'd love to hear from you. Please get in touch with the author Lauren Gurley at, there's her email, or on Signal, and there's a number you can contact her with. Now I'm going to leave the link to where this can be found unedited down below, but let's think about this. It seems like people want to know what's going on exactly with this megacycle. Whether it's going to impact anything, who knows? Really, culture nowadays is very fickle. It seems like no matter what side of the political aisle you're on, if you interfere with people's ability to feel comfortable, to feel safe. Doesn't matter what side of the political spectrum, people are going to get uncomfortable, but this could also bring about some change. What I'm saying is, if you want to think about this tactically, you have to think about how can this go wrong? How can this be spun against you? How can this really spiral out of control and give birth to something else that you never expected? In governmental speak, you'd say, what are the second and third order effects of this avenue that I want to pursue? And these are things that aren't going to be immediately clear. These are things that you're supposed to brainstorm on your own. So let's say you contact this person and you give her this story and she uses your name. Could you possibly field some change? Maybe. Could you possibly bring the spotlight to the conditions that drivers face? Definitely. Now, the problem might not even necessarily be with you and your DSP, but let's definitely think about the ways that this could be used against you if you come out and you talk to this person. And I'm not saying don't talk to them. You do whatever you want to do. Okay, let's say you get in touch with her and you somehow fit yourself into the bigger narrative here. You become part of her story. I don't even know what the story is going to be like, right? Because they can always frame it one way or the other. You can either be in a story where the drivers look like they're complaining or they're overworked. Now let's take a look at what Amazon does and what big companies do. Number one, Amazon could pressure your DSP to let you go, or they could just cancel the DSP's contract altogether. It doesn't really solve the problem as far as the optics go, but then they know that with the news cycle, with everything that's going on, lots of distractions happening, your story is going to be buried relatively quickly, and as long as Americans are getting their cheap stuff quickly, efficiently, it doesn't really matter. People are hurting for jobs. They're going to fill in that gap that was left behind. You even have flex drivers. The second part is this pushes Amazon into contracting directly with drivers, with delivery associates. So now you're going to see more flex drivers on the road. You're going to see more flex getting more hours. They're not going to be complaining because they get paid more and they can just log in, do what they got to do, collect their 100, 200 for the day, depending on how the routes are, especially if they get bigger after this, and then they go home. And then they can do this 1 or 2 times a week while they do Uber on the side, and they're making a comfortable living. They don't need you. That's the second road that Amazon can take if they start to see bad press when it comes to how drivers are treated. Now they're going to select people who want to be there, who want to be there to make extra money, who want to make money on the side. The third thing that Amazon can do, and a lot of big companies do this, they receive negative feedback, they receive negative press, they issue a quick apology, they issue a press release, they make themselves look good and say that they're going to take steps to implement changes that impact drivers and make delivery, a lot better for everyone involved, including the end consumer. And as long as people get their stuff, they're not going to know the difference. As long as people get their things, they don't care, is what it all boils down to. This is something that people need to understand, especially when it comes to changing an adult's mind. Nothing will change their mind unless it affects them directly. It has to be something that they can see, hear, feel, smell, something that affects their day-to-day way of life. And as long as it doesn't interfere with their daily routine, as long as they stay comfortable, they're just going to look at it, wow, that sucks, and then move on. So if you're a driver, you have a few options here. You can either contact this person, and this isn't the only one. There are tons of news reporters out there that are trying to break into this story, and it always seems to go nowhere because Amazon, let's face it, is a Fortune 500 company. It's a big company. It's an economic powerhouse. It's something that's very hard to stop, and it's not like it can be stopped. As you can see, the company restructuring had Jeff Bezos leave as the figurehead for the company itself, and he put this other guy in charge. Now this guy is the one that's going to take all the fire for him instead of Bezos directly. So basically what I want to do is I want to caution you guys from seeing posts like this and contacting them or talking to any reporter thinking it's going to solve all the problems. Chances are it's not really going to solve anything. And frankly, I don't have a solution for this. But I will tell you that this will probably not really go anywhere. But in the process of going down this road, you might lose what you're doing in order to pay your bills. So be careful. I appreciate the desire to tell all, to rush into something. It shows initiative. It shows the spirit to fight. And I do like it when the underdog says, I refuse to be taken advantage of. But let's not forget that these people have years of experience dealing with these kinds of scandals, these kinds of issues. They're going to have a team of lawyers that's already working to counteract the narrative here, that the mega cycle is just a consequence of a holiday rush that the algorithm still hasn't been able to update for, or the DSPs don't have enough people to fill in for all the people that left because the cycles were so heavy. It'll start normalizing around March. They'll have a timeline. Play the game smart. Look for different venues. If this is what you've got, I'm not saying suffer in silence, but you have to be smart with how you take advantage of the current situations so that you can work the situation into your benefit in the long run. Be good and be safe out there, guys.